Hey guys, so self-identity. This is a topic that I've spoken on before. You may have seen my video on self-actualization. If you haven't, you can check that out. But I want to talk about self-identity and truly being yourself. So how do you set yourself up to truly be yourself? Now here's the thing. I think a lot of people believe that they're being 100% themselves, but in reality, they aren't. So I say that because sometimes we experience friction in life. If you ever experience friction when you're around other people, you sort of don't feel 100% yourself, or you sort of feel that you're putting on a certain personality or attitude, just for the enjoyment of other people, or just for the surrounding that you're in, then you're sort of disconnecting from who you truly are. So it's that friction that plays a huge role in it. So I know this goes a little bit further beyond these two categories, but I want to talk about, being an introvert versus being an extrovert. Now, I'm an introvert. Throughout my past years, I thought that, a lot of people used to tell me that I was really shy. I was a little quiet, and that was the truth. For a good bit of years, that's been the truth, and I believed them. At one point, I actually thought that I was antisocial because of other people were telling me that so often. Oh, you're so quiet. Why you don't want to speak? But as time went on, and I really discovered my personality. I really discovered who I was, and I started to reading a little bit more about how introverts are, and I realized that that's me. I connected with so many of those factors. I get a lot of energy by being to myself. I'm able to rest. I'm able to really reflect well, and sort of de-stress when I'm to myself. And that's just who I am. A lot of times I'm out in social situations. Sometimes I may be a little bit quiet, and usually that's because I'm in my mind. Usually that's because I'm doing a lot of thinking. I'm truly being myself. A lot of people may look at me, they may see me just staring off in the distance, or just being consciously aware of my surrounding. And that's not because I don't want to speak to anyone. That's just who I naturally am. I process what's going on around me. So I used to let that bother me. It used to bother me a little bit when I heard that. But like I said, once I discovered who I truly was, I became okay with it. And then I started to value who I am. So, if you're an introvert, if you spend a little bit more time to yourself, if that's how you really enjoy more of your time, then it's very important that you embrace that. If you're an extrovert, now there are several different categories of each of these, and I haven't really done much studying on that to really be able to characterize them. But overall, an extrovert, someone's a little bit more outgoing, someone who's they enjoy life a little bit more when they're around other people. They get a little bit more energy when they're around people. So once you think about who you are, your identity, in two different ways. So think about there's a pool. I think we're all a mix of both introvert and extrovert characteristics. So think about yourself as a pool of two. There's this one side of you that's a little bit more introvert. Well, not a little bit more, but there's one side of you that's introvert. There's another side of you that's extrovert. Now, for you guys who are actually extroverts, bigger amount of that pool is going to be extrovert characteristics. So let's just say, let's throw a number out here. 80% of you is more extrovert. You draw more energy from being around other people. That's how you enjoy life. That's how you like to be that more talkative person. You like to be around other people. So think about that. So 80% of you is more extrovert. 20% of you is introvert. All right. Now for you introverts, let's just reverse that. 80% of you, of your personality, of your identity, is introvert characteristics, and 20% of you are extrovert. So just to pick one here, for introvert, for example, and I'm going to talk about this because that's who I am. So for me, for example, 80% of me introvert characteristics, 20% extrovert. Like I said, disregard the numbers. Don't be so close on the numbers. Just for an example here. So if I am out and about, and I spend a lot more time around other people, or amongst my weeks, if I spend more of my days and more of my hours around other people, maybe I may experience a little friction, and that friction is a result of me not embracing those introvert characteristics, not really not being true to myself, and really not satisfying that introvert side of myself of being a little bit separate from other people sometimes, and spending more time in my own mind, spending more time thinking. just to myself. And because that's, like I said, that's how I enjoy energy. That's how a lot of introverts draw energy. So on the other side, for an extrovert, some of you guys who more so enjoy your days, you have more energy when you're not around other people. If you spend more of your time to yourself, maybe your days may be a little bit more gloomy. Maybe your days are a little bit more sad because you're not spending around time around those people that perhaps or just people in general. So if you think about the two pools, whichever side you fall on, if you don't necessarily take the time to be in that characteristic of yours, that dominant characteristic or that dominant personality, if you don't take the time and put enough time into that, then you will experience a little friction in your life. Like I said, with me, if I'm around other people for too long and if I don't get that time to myself in which I could just sit back, reflect, and think about things and just constantly be in my mind, if I don't get that, I experience friction. And a lot of times I get frustrated. If I'm around people too much or people are crowding me too much, I get a little bit frustrated. And I think people may be able to see that in me. So, when it comes to identity, that's a big part of it. I know that through life we grow. Through life we our characteristics, our personalities, it evolves, and that's how it is. From the moment you're born. I once said that you're 100% who you are when you're born, but it's really hard to say that because with all of us, we grow, we experience, and that alters our personality. That alters who we are as life goes on, as we learn. We start off a little bit more naive, perhaps, and we think we know a little bit more than what we know. But as life goes on, we have those hardships. We have good moments, bad moments. We have experiences. We witness our surroundings, other people around us, and it all becomes a part of our growth. It all becomes a part of who we are. So in a way, you can sort of think about your life evolving. Through your personality, there are characteristics and traits that you will discover about yourself as life goes on. Some may change over time, but it all comes back down to your identity. So that's all a part of growth. So I'm aware of that, but I truly think that there's a core person inside of us that's truly who we are. And like I said, it can be a mixture of both introvert and extrovert characteristics. And when we really separate ourselves from that, that's when we create a little bit more, like I said, friction in life. And that friction in life is a representation of us not truly being ourselves. So, if you put yourself in a situation where you're in a meeting around a bunch of business people, perhaps, and, that doesn't necessarily reflect with who you are in that moment. I like to think of it as this, if you're trying to be someone else, just to fit in with someone else, then you create more friction. If you have a good reason to alter that personality, that's the thing. Sometimes in life you have to really alter your personality to get what you want or to set yourself up for good opportunities. If you have a good, strong reason that you can draw from internally, draw from your internal self, the reason why you're in that position, then you're eliminating that friction by, like you said, you're using it for your advantage. So if you're in that group and you have a good reason why you're in that group, you will experience less friction. You will be less, worried about what someone around you may be thinking. You will be more so focused on perhaps a speaker who's, trying to teach something versus, what other people around you are thinking. So, and I say this because these are experiences that I've had. So if, like I said, if you have a true reason to alter your personality, a reason that really connects with you, then you are creating less friction by being in that situation. So that's the thing in life. If you have a strong personal reason, for relationships, for example, a lot of people alter their personalities when they're in the beginning stages of dating someone because they want to impress that person. They want to be that person, that the person that they're going after, they want to be the person that they like. But the thing I've realized is that even when it comes to that, sometimes those people just they'll like your authentic self. They like the person that you are. So I think it's really good to be aware of that. Like, for example, when you're dating, as I said before, if that's something that you're trying to do, be a bit more conscious of your efforts to impress someone else. I think that you should truly be yourself in a way that you don't want to create that friction, because even that, they will pick up on that. If you're in a meeting, for example, as I said before, Be yourself. I think people will naturally love you when you're your authentic self, and you're not trying to be something that you're not. When you, like I said, when you have a good reason to alter your personality slightly, then they will even pick up on that, and they will feel that that's you. They will feel that's you. They will feel that that's passionate. They'll feel that that's your passion. They'll feel that that's your true self that they're actually speaking to, that they're around. So don't be so caught up in the idea of altering your personality for other people. People will love you for your authentic self, and you will love you. You may have heard this a lot. You are the greatest person you can be when you're being yourself. That's when you can achieve greatness. You can't achieve greatness by trying to be someone else. If someone successful is your role model, you can't necessarily be successful by imitating exactly them, by trying to alter your personality and be them. Be yourself. Learn things from those people, but in the process, be yourself. Like I said, that's how you set yourself up to achieve great things. I think everyone has something great that they can achieve. Everyone has great things in life that they can do, and usually it's a result of being themselves, their authentic selves. You always find out about that person who did something new, that person with that new personality that everyone loves. You don't really hear so much about those people who try to imitate those people. That's the thing. So, you achieve great things when you're being yourself, and that's how you set yourself up to be happy in life. You have to be yourself. Eliminate that friction by being another personality. And if you have to take time, I encourage people to do this. If you have to take time to just sit to yourself and just really think, reflect on life. How have you changed as time has gone on? And maybe think about, why you may have changed. And if the change that you've witnessed throughout your life has been more beneficial to you, if you've discovered more happiness in your life, more success in life as a result, then great. But if you have found that looking back, you've created more friction in your life through those changes, how the environment and society has affected you, then maybe you need to really think, am I truly being myself? Am I truly being me? Am I truly honoring my personality, the person that I am? And like I said, if there are any changes you have to make in life, have a really good reason why you want to change it, because if you don't, then you will create that friction. So guys, that's really all I want to talk about. This is one of those topics that I actually love when it comes to talking about identity. So I'll be talking a little bit more about this in the future. So like I said, if you haven't checked out the video on self-actualization, I encourage you to check that out. I really didn't want to talk about it here because I may have made this video too long. But as always, if you're enjoying the content, then stick around for more, and I'll see you next time.